Hello friends, today we will talk about creation. Most of the religious scriptures, they talk about creation. When they talk about creation, we immediately think about creation of the universe. How was the universe created? How was the earth created? And how was man created? And so on, so on. If you observe closely, the earth, scientifically speaking, the universe was created 14.5 billions of years ago. The earth was created 4.5 billions of years ago. If we compare the genealogy as in the Bible, starting from Adam up to today, it would sum up to around 6,000 years. That's it. Just make a comparison between 6,000 years and 4.5 billions of years. It's not comparable. We will find a difference. So, what could be the reason for the difference? There should be something. Either the Bible is true or what we call as science should be true. So, before we go deeper into this subject, I'd like to highlight one point here. There is a difference in perspective from the materialistic point of view on a thing and a real spiritual point of view. The holy books are not talking about the material aspects of life. This is fundamental. But now we treat the religions and holy books as something very trivial and we take it for granted. No. I'll give you an example. We all know that the earth is stable. We come to the earth, we are born, we live, we die, and then we are gone. So, the earth is stable and we are just travelers. This is the materialistic perspective. Okay, so keep it on one side. Now, the religious scriptures, especially Siddhanta, which is the core of all religions, talk about us being an everlasting thing. Our consciousness does not see any death. This is the core principle. So what happens? We are always there. At this point in time, this earth appears in front of us. We live, we seem to interact with people, and then one day this earth will disappear. So you're talking about the same earth but two different perspectives. Okay, so this is something to be kept in mind. They cannot be compared. One is the material object itself, the creation, and the second one is talking about consciousness. This can be compared to observing, and let's say if you want to observe closely something through a microscope, you look through the microscope, through the lenses, and you observe it. The subject which is being observed, it could be a virus, for example. The other thing which I am talking about is about the person who is looking through the microscope. So one is the object, the other one is the subject. So these are two different perspectives. So this has to be kept in mind, especially when we talk about creation. So in general, all the theories about creation can be grouped into three different categories. When I say all the creation myths, I literally talk about even the mythologies from some remote parts of Africa, New Zealand, Norway, whatever, all the countries. So if you group all of them and then try to classify them, we can group them under three different categories. The first category talks about creation from nothing. So, how can we create something out of nothing? And then the philosophers start to argue. The scientists jump in by saying that you cannot create nothing out of nothing. You can create only nothing out of nothing. How can you create something out of nothing? So then we all fight. As I said, the creation itself, as in the Holy Scriptures, does not talk about the materialistic world or the material world. The geologists, they say the earth was formed 4.5 billions of years ago. This is not the universe which is mentioned in the holy books. From the holy books, they talk about the consciousness as the key thing, and how this earth which appears in front of us was created. It's a different perception, completely different. Yeah, it's a different state of consciousness. So what they say is, this world which appears in front of us is not true. It will die away, or it will fade away one day. So it's a different view altogether. Yeah, so something out of nothing and so on, the fight does not hold true if we apply this logic. So Islam talks about that. Rig Veda is one big supporter of creation out of nothing. Christianity says the universe was created out of nothing. So when I say it was created out of nothing, you have to go back to the original concept. I mean, you are constant. This earth appears in front of you. How did it appear? What was it before? We do not know. Completely different perception. So this is the one, or the first category of the creation story. The second category is a chaos theory or chaos cosmology. There, the idea behind, the core idea behind such stories is that they say there was chaos everywhere, and someone comes in to set some order for a while, and he succeeds. After a while, chaos takes over, and the whole thing, the order is lost, gone. This is the second set of story. So in this set of story, what they really talk about is about tattvas. This is what we call as tattvas in India. Elements, the 5 major elements: space, air, fire, water, and earth. So this chaos theory tries to explain the way in which how the 5 elements combine together in different proportions to create the human body, the physical body. That's it. Consciousness is the one who comes and settles down in this body, yeah, and then it creates this. The physical body is made and is sustained by food for a while, and after some time this physical body is discarded. So if you come across any chaos theory or chaos cosmology from any remote part of the world, try to apply this. I think I have a video which is about the gods of Rig Veda. There I explain in detail how this sequence, what was there first, space, Akash, and then how was air created from Akash, and then fire, and then water and earth, and so on, so on. When I say earth, I am talking about the physical material body. So this is one theory which The logic is about the tattvas. That's what I wanted to say. The third the third category of the creation myths talks about some beings coming from some underworld. Yeah, so they have to suffer a lot in the underworld, and they undergo different transition from one state of being to the other, and so on, and then they always get transformed. Finally, they end up as human beings by coming and landing on this earth. It is one thing is interesting, when these mythologies talk about creation, if you observe closely, they do not talk about how the universe or how the galaxy was formed. They always talk about how human beings were formed. This is the fundamental thing. So we should not compare the creation myths with the scientific data of how the star was created. No, because those stories or those mythologies were written to highlight how human beings, us, you and me, were formed on earth. How did we come to this earth? It's a different concept. So the third group of the creation mythology literally talks about how a baby is born. That's it. What happens within the mother's belly? What are the challenges for the sperm cell which it has to take over, or which it has to face? Challenges for the sperm cell within the mother's body and then unite with the egg cell to form a zygote, and then the baby is formed, and then how it comes to the earth. This is the whole process, different transformations from a single sperm cell. How does it end up, how does it, let's say, come out to the earth as a human baby? In Hindu books, we can find many references to these things in the name of Puranas. We have funny shapes for the gods. In different mythologies, they also have funny shapes. Not necessarily the ones which we have in Hinduism. They have their own story about this. So it is all talking, you have to look into the gynecology area very closely, the transformation, and then compare these mythologies with that. Then we will find the answer. What I say cannot be validated again as of now, but if you perform, whenever you come across any creation mythology, it should be in one of these three categories. Try to compare that and you will find out the truth for yourself. Thank you.